Hey everybody, thank you for joining us on The Life is Marsh. Today we're going to start the next project and begin the planning phase. The newest project is to start building a Plex media server, a media server that will provide services to the entire family for movies and television shows. Televisions. So, let's go ahead and get into it, right? So what I like to do is I like to type out everything. I do project management. I may not be the best at it, but I still manage to get it done. And the first thing we always look at is the objective that we want to achieve with a project we're initiating. In this particular case, the objective here, as previously stated, is to build a server that will provide media services to the home to include movies and television shows. The server will be located on the local area network, so on my network for the home, and will be accessible from anywhere on the internet. So the intent is to be able to access my Plex server while, say, I'm out driving around or anywhere that I may have connectivity with a smart device, whether it's a tablet or my phone. So the plan is to get this build out of equipment I already have and then purchase equipment that I need to do additional functionalities beyond what I had planned previously with this. Because I'm using a server, a rack mount server that's from Rosewell that was used for GPU mining that held 8 GPUs. Now that I'm done with mining, I would like to reutilize this case to perform some additional functionality. So this is the server that I'm building with. This is the Rosewell case. See how I did that?
Yes.
And what we have to do is we got to explain what we've got going on. So what I found though is that I don't have enough room for 3 140 fans up in the front, which I'll get closer pictures here in a second. I've only got room for these 2 that I've already got in here. I did realize that inside the case though, there's 5 80mm fans in this general area. So there's 5 of those and there's 2 against the back and room for standard ATX motherboard. So that's what I'll be using. I already have the rails for this system that go in the rack, which I'll show you some pictures of too. And then I've got a Rosewell 1200 watt power supply. This is the case I'm going to load the motherboard in and all the system drives and everything. It's already got the Intel 2-core G4400 with 8 gigs of Plex servers in the past. I've ran them for years. They're great. They provide a lot of extra morale around the house when things are kind of boring or dull or we can't get to the internet or something of that sort. And so there's just a tremendous value in building this system. So from hardware standpoint, again, the case is a Rosewell server case. It is 5U watt or tall. It's full depth, and it's a 19-inch rack. So I've got it mounted up in a 40U case or 42U rack that I have over in the corner. It's behind me back in the studio area. There is going to be a mixture of 3D printed components, assuming I can get my 3D printer behaving better. I've seen some really nice fan covers that would be usable in this particular case. And I also need to print out some hard drive holders so I can mount my hard drives in there in a very stable manner without them sliding around or overheating. And the kind of idea is to run the fans. So on the front of the case, there's 340 mil fans that will pull air in to the drive area where all the drives are at to help provide cooling to them. So if they do tend to get used a lot, we'll keep them at a reasonable temperature. And then directly behind the drives is another small set of 120 mil fans that will pull that air and push it across the motherboard. And then if I remember right, there's 2 80 mil fans at the back in case that'll help draw more air out. And hopefully between all these fans we can create a nice cool airflow through the system that'll keep it operational and at good temps the entire time it's used. The heart of the system is going to be the MSI Z170A Gaming 5 motherboard, only because I have them in my current inventory. They haven't been selling well on eBay, so I'm trying to make full use of them whenever I have an opportunity to get my value out of them. The processor will be a Celeron processor. I don't remember the exact model right now, but I think it's something like a 3830 or something to that effect. Memory, I can run anywhere from 8 to 16 gigs depending on the workload I expect to put on it. What I may do is start out with 8, see how the system handles it, and if it needs more memory, then add it to it. But a lot of these video streaming servers don't require a ton of memory. They just need easily accessible storage to dump to. So in that case, I've got a total of 7 1 terabyte hard drives I can use. I will be looking at some larger capacity drives, but at this time that's what I'm going to plan on is those 7 1 TB. I'm going to use two 300 gigabyte drives for the system to install Windows or Linux on. I haven't made a final decision on that. I've ran a ton of Linux media servers. I've never run a Windows media server, so I may give it a shot and see how it works out for me. And then the cache drive is something I'd like to try it on the system as well, where I run two M.2 SATA drives that are just stupid fast compared to the spin disks I have in here to start caching data to as quick as possible and then write to the disks as they're available, spin disks. But what that will require me to do is purchase some extra PCIe cards that are SATA controllers, so I can run the additional. I think that's going to be 5 hard drives, so that's going to be 2 cards, so I'm going to have to purchase, which is fine. There's plenty of slots. The MSI Z170 Gaming 5, if I remember right, has 7 PCIe slots on it. It's got a 16 by 16, a by 8, and then several by 1s, so we should be good. I also need to verify I have enough SATA cables floating around and that they're long enough, because the cables are going to need to reach all the way from the rear of the case to the front of the case where we're going to have all the drives mounted. So hopefully we'll have that under control. And then also make sure I got enough. Holy shit. And then also make sure I got enough PLA in the 3D printer to pump out all the components I need that I just can't buy off the shelf, which is the amazing reason I bought that printer. Was there's always stuff that I need that I just can't buy, but I can always find the 3D models for it on Thingiverse, so I just bought the printer so I can pump them out. The hard part is just keeping that sucker tuned properly so it prints things out appropriately. Either way, we'll see how it goes, and I'll show you what those pieces look like when we get there. With those pieces, I will not be finishing them because this isn't a show piece, this is a functional piece, so the nice little texture you get from 3D printing will still be there. Not an issue in my book. Let me know what you guys think, but I'm not going to be showing this off to everybody beyond functionality and showing you guys how I build this system. So the main things that I will need to buy is a SATA controllers, 2 of them, and possibly SATA cables. And what will need to be 3D printed is the hard drive carriers. If I remember right, it's about 3 to 4 hard drives per carrier, and then fan covers for the 140 mil fans. Even if they have only fan covers for 120 mil, I just take that model, expand it out to 140, and we should be fine from bolt hole to bolt hole. So we should be good. The next part, which is more of a sensitive topic, but we'll keep it very loosely referenced to in our conversation. For movies, I use Radar. It's a great tool. Makes things very simple for you to use, and the interface is very user-friendly. I've used some other applications in the past that are really crummy, that I wouldn't even give to my worst enemy because they're so confusing. But Radar keeps it clean, keeps it easy, and you just kind of pump through it. And it's a currently supported piece of software they regularly release updates for. Sonar is the same way. Radar was actually a break-off from Sonar that they used for movies. Sonar does the same exact functionality. It looks very similar, except it's specific to series, television series. So things like if you want to find the original Lost stuff, there you go, or King of Thrones, or American Horror Story. You know, those kind of fun things, or in my case, Space Odyssey. And the cool part is both of those are free. They are donation-based, so if you feel like you're getting a value out of them, you can provide that value back to the developers via donations like PayPal. The next part is really important, is the downloader. It's the part that when the location is identified, it will pull the info. And the two that I'm stuck between right now is SAB, which I've used SAB before. I haven't seen its most recent interface, so I'm going to give that a shot. I have used NZBGet, but I'm not a huge fan of it, but it works. I mean, it works. So I think I'm going to try SAB again just to see where it's at. And if it's evolved enough in the last, say, 3 or 4 years, I'll probably hold on to that solution. The user interface, basically the GUI interface on the server side and for the client-facing portion, is Plex. So in my case, I'll be inside Radar and Sonar and SAB doing all the configurations and stuff. But the way my family will access the media is through the Plex media server. I'll have the server with the server software on it, they'll have the client software loaded in on their endpoint, whether it's a Roku or a laptop or a tablet, so they can access it from anywhere. The Plex Media system is a subscription-based service, but they do offer a lifetime service there. So if you're into that kind of stuff, which I probably will end up doing, is I will purchase the lifetime for that, which gives me all I ever need, and they accept credit card and PayPal as forms of payment. The next one's an indexer, which is it's rather important, I would say. This is the tool that you use to find what you're looking for. So if you're looking for something specific, you have to set up NZB Geek inside Radar and Sonar, so they know where to go find things. Without NZB Geek, this whole system won't work. There's other indexers out there. There's long lists of them, but this has been the most friendly to me. And they also have reasonable pricing. So you can get some free services, but quite honestly, they stink. All the free ones I've tried just have really been a big disappointment. So I would recommend going with this pay-for service only because it's affordable. They give you a lifetime option for almost nothing. I mean, it's $1 a month bare minimum at the largest cost. So I think it's totally worth it for what it provides. They do accept credit card, crypto, and gift card, which is really cool for some of us that work in the crypto world. But if not, I mean, they accept all the normal stuff. I believe they even get to the Amex, Discover, Visa, MasterCard, and all that kind of stuff, no problem. And then the last one, which is the key component, is the Usenet, which I prefer to use SuperNews. Great experience there. They've increased their providings or their services to you. So their services are much better now, but they have increased the cost a little bit. It's $10 a month. We're going to do a upfront yearly at a discount of $74.25, which you can see here. I'm just reading it back to you. I like SuperNews. Configuration is easy. Web face is super simple. This is what you set up in your grabber tool or your downloader. So sort of like in SAB, or you set it up in NZBGet, and those tools interact together to pull the data you're looking for. And they also accept credit card and PayPal. So I've noticed a lot of systems are accepting PayPal, which is really cool. And the more that I see accepting crypto, the better as well, just because I think that's a pretty neat way to handle things. All right, so that's the boring part, right? We're done. We got the boring part over with. So maybe this is boring part 2. I don't know. You guys need to let me know how this works out for you. But I got a drawing, so give me 1 second to pull up this drawing. Cool part is I can cut out this video. Oh yeah, sure. I think I sent it to my home address. Yeah, there we go. Right. So this is my picture I drew for us. This is my attempt to show you how things interact. So first thing to note here is the heart of the whole system is your local storage. That's going to be your server that has all the drives in it, because you got to have somewhere to store all this stuff, and everything interacts with it. I mean, you use your radar and sonar to see what you have versus what you don't have to figure out what you need to go get. SAB or NZBGet, when they go get all this stuff, need somewhere to put it, which is your local storage. And then the Plex Media server streams it out from your local storage. So you got to make sure your local storage is on point and reliable. If I had a better budget, I'd build more of a clustered type system that would be high available just to prove that it can be done. Pretty sure it can be, I just haven't done it in a while. Or even in the case of doing overt configuration, where you have multiple hosts that has a pretty beefy VM on it that can shift between all the hosts. So that way, if you have a power outage or something to that effect, it will shift between them and should still remain online with very minimal impact to the users. But again, this is just a family, so I'm not worried about getting that crazy. Now, I have built overt clusters successfully in the past and ran a lot of servers off of them, but they consume so much power, it's ridiculous. So I'm not going to be doing that anymore. I've just been using VPSs. Okay, so again, SAB interacts with storage. Radar and sonar interact with SAB. Radar and sonar, the reason they interact with SAB is to tell SAB what to go get for them. So in the case of radar, say you purchased and you own a particular movie, but you don't have a good way to convert it, you can tell SAB to go grab it for you and pull it down and dump it on local storage. And then the radar system or sonar, depending on whether it's TV or movie, will look at the local storage and it can tell you what you've got. So when you go in to say, hey, I need to get this other movie that I lost in a fire or something to that effect, you can look in radar or sonar, depending on what you're looking for, and see if you've already got it in your library or if you need to go grab it. And if you need to go grab it, it's super easy. It gives you all the selections. You can decide between 720, 1080, 420, 640, all that kind of stuff on what you're specifically looking for. And then with SAB interacts with Super News. I can't remember 100% if radar and sonar do the interaction with the indexer. I think they do, because they have to know where to grab it from, and that's where they tell SAB where to go get this stuff from and what you're looking for. And SAB just hits up Super News and starts to pull it, which I believe is how it works. I need to update the arrows on my chart here. No biggie. And then Plex, through the local area network, will be able to stream to any device. And it can also stream to external devices if you configure your firewall properly. So if I had 4G service and I was driving through the middle of nowhere and wanted to play a movie for the kids, I'd be able to pull up my Plex system, fire it up on the tablet, hand it to the kids, and let them watch a movie while I'm driving through, a 1 hour boring area that they just can't handle and are driving me bonkers, which has happened before. So this kind of covers a large portion of what the idea is. Hopefully it makes sense to you guys and helps you understand what this system does and how it is kind of configured. Because I know when I first looked up this stuff way back in the day, it confused the bloody mess out of me and I was lost for a while. But after some digging, after some implementation, multiple implementations and usage, it's a pretty darn good system. Now, if you're not a technical guy and you don't enjoy this kind of stuff, I could see you not really caring. But if you do have any questions, you have any interest, you want help setting this stuff up, let me know. I'm more than happy to help out. So either way, I'm going to go ahead and conclude the video, do a quick transition so that way you can see the banner up top. This is Life of Marshall. I do have a website at www.lifeofmarshall.com. If you could go over there, check out the blogs. I post up a lot of articles. I try and write about things I find awesome. Often I also have an Instagram, which you can find all the information for that stuff down in the description area, where I've got a list of links that note the home page, the Facebook page, and all the other stuff we have out there. So take a look, let me know what you think, and we'll move on. But again, thank you for watching the video, and you have a good night.